take us a little longer to do it, but we're gonna do it, all right? So when you do your pre-trip, you have 40 minutes to do the inside and the outside, all right? Both of them are still considered your pre-trip. It's not separate tests, all right? Now, you gotta tell him 3 things. You gotta tell him that the part is mounted and secured, it's not damaged in any way, and that it's not leaking either air or fluid, all right? Very important, those are 3 things. Now the damaged part, we're gonna change up. He's tired of hearing the same old bent, cracked, and broken and shit like that. So I'm gonna change it up as we go through here. Pretty much, I want you to be able to look at a part and know and tell him it's not damaged in any way and what way it's not damaged. Okay? So that's how we're gonna do this one. All right, theirs is different than y'all's. You guys can all get together and work on it however you want. If you want to eliminate the crack, bent, broken, and bent, broken, crack shit, you can. However you do it, if you're talking about a part, you got to make sure when you tell him it's not damaged, how it's not damaged. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So when we start out, we're going to be about 10 to 15 feet away from the front of the truck. We're going to look at our truck. It's not leaning to the left or to the right, which would indicate a suspension problem or a flat tire. Okay. Also, whenever you're talking about something, you either have to be pointing at it or you have to be touching it. All right.
Okay.
If you go back and you just keep watching the video and you memorize the video, and he said, and you walk up there and go, "Oh, that's my tie rod," and you look away and start memorizing what you memorized, he's probably not going to give you credit for it. He wants you to constantly be looking at what you're talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
Got you.
All right, so I start at the top and work my way down. So at the top, I have 5 clearance lights, okay? They're properly mounted and secured. They're not damaged in any, they're not cracked or damaged in any way. They are amber in color, okay? Then I have my hood mirrors. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not bent or damaged, all right? Then I come down, I got my headlights, my left and right. Headlights, highs and low beams are properly mounted and secured. They are not cracked or damaged or missing, and they are white in color. Then I have my lenses. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked or damaged, and they are clean and clear. All right. Underneath the truck, I don't have any low-hanging wires or puddles, which would indicate a leak. All right. Alright, we'll go this side first. Over here, I have my coolant reservoir. It's properly mounted and secured. It is not damaged. It's not cracked or damaged in any way. It's not leaking any fluid. It's filled to the proper level and the cap is tight. If I wanted, I would take the cap off and check the little rubber seal underneath to make sure it wasn't weather rotted or torn or anything like that. Okay. Now to the other side. I seem out of sync because I'm trying to do this as on the fly. Right up here I have my airlines and fittings properly mounted and secured. They're not frayed or torn. And there's no audible air leaks. Okay. I have my oil dipstick. I would tell him how I would check the oil. I would tell him I would pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it back out to make sure it's at the proper level. If I needed to add oil, I would add it right here. Okay. The cap itself is mounted and secured. If I wanted, I would take it off and check the little rubber seal underneath to make sure it wasn't damaged. My power steering reservoir, right? Properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or damaged in any way. It's filled to the proper level and the cap on it is tight. I would also check that cap for any damage on the rubber seal underneath there. My power steering hose, properly mounted and secured with clamps at both ends. It's not torn, frayed. It's not leaking. I think I got it. All right. My power steering gearbox, properly mounted and secured. It is not bent or damaged in any way. It's not leaking. All bolts are present and tight. Okay. I have my pitman arm. It's not bent, damaged, cracked. It's properly mounted and secured with a pinch nut that is tight. Okay. My drag link. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not bent or damaged. It's properly mounted and secured with castle nuts and cotter keys. Okay, that's what those are. Okay. Back here behind the axle, that right there is my tie rod. Okay, it's properly mounted and secured with castle nuts and cotter keys. It's not bent, damaged in any way. Okay. Next, I have my shock absorber right here, properly mounted and secured. It's not, I always say this, so it's hard. I always say it's not cracked, bent, or broken. All right. So it's not bent or broken or damaged in any way. It's not leaking any fluids. Okay. Next, I have my leaf spring hangers, front and rear. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not damaged, bent, or anything. Next, I have my leaf spring. Okay. It is not damaged, bent, scissoring in any way. It is properly mounted and secured with U-bolts. The U-bolts themselves are not bent or damaged, and all nuts on them are present and tight. Okay. All right, right here I have my air line and ABS line. Okay. Properly mounted and secured. They're not torn or frayed. There's no audible air leaks, and there's no bare wires showing. Okay, those two lines right there. Now down here, I have my brake shoes. They're inside the drum. My brake shoes, properly mounted and secured. They're not damaged in any way. There's at least 1/4 of an inch of thickness to be in compliance. Then I have my brake drum. All right, it's properly mounted and secured. It is not cracked, bent, broken, and there's no illegal welds on that thing. All right. Then there's also no oil or grease between my brake shoes and my brake drum, which would indicate a leak. Okay. All right, next I have my steer tire. There's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. It's wearing evenly. It's filled to 100 PSI, which I would check with the tire gauge. It is a virgin tire, and there's at least 30 seconds of tread to be in compliance. All the rest of my tires only need 30 seconds. Right? My rim, properly mounted and secured. It is not cracked, damaged, or any illegal welds. Okay? My lug nuts and studs, they're all present and tight, none are missing. There's no shiny threads, rust trails, or oblong holes that would indicate looseness. My valve stem, properly mounted and secured. It's not bent or damaged. There's no audible air leaks, and the cap is tight. Okay. I have my mirror mounting bracket. It's properly mounted and secured, not damaged, not bent, cracked, or damaged. All bolts are present and tight. My side marker, turn signal, and 4-way flasher. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, chipped, or damaged. It's amber in color. Okay. My battery box door, this thing right here, properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or split or damaged. Then I have my batteries. They're properly mounted and secured. There's no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. There's no visible leaks. My battery cable wires, okay, properly mounted and secured. They're not cut, torn, or damaged. There's no bare wires showing. My battery posts are mounted and secured, and there's no signs of corrosion. Okay. Next, I have my def tank. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, split, or damaged, and there's no visible leaks. And the cap is tight. If I wanted, I would also check the little rubber grommet underneath that cap to make sure it wasn't cut, torn, or split, or frayed, or weather rotted. I have my fuel tank, properly mounted and secured. It's not bent, damaged, or cracked. There's no visible leaks, and the cap is tight. That cap I would also check to make sure the little rubber seal underneath there was not weather rotted or torn up or damaged in any way. Okay. All right, we're gonna come back here. I have my air lines, properly mounted and secured to the tractor. They're not cut, torn, or frayed. There's no audible air leaks. I have my electric line, or pigtail, right? It's properly mounted and secured with a spring-loaded safety latch. It's not cut, torn, or frayed. There's no bare wire showing. If needed, I would pull it out and I would look in the end to make sure there was no debris in the end and all the little pins in there were not bent or split. My airlines themselves right here are not damaged in any way. I don't see any bare wires or hear any audible air leaks. My frame and cross members properly mounted and secured. It's not bent, damaged, and there's no illegal welds on it, okay? Now, this stuff is normally attached to a trailer, okay? So it would be up here. And you would tell him on this end, my glad hands, which is this metal part right here, is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or damaged in any way, and there's no audible air leaks. The little rubber grommet inside is present, not missing. It's not cut, torn, or weather rotted, and there's no audible air leaks from it. My pigtail is also mounted to the trailer over here. It's properly mounted and secured with a spring-loaded safety latch. It's not cut, torn, frayed. There's no bare wires. If I wanted, I would pull it out, make sure there was no debris in the end, and I would put it back in, okay? All right, then you would come right here. So now, you gotta think that trailer, you can see the test truck down there. That's what they're doing right now. So there would be a trailer right here, okay? You put your hand underneath the bottom of the trailer, touch the bottom of the trailer. It's called your apron, okay? My apron itself is mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broken, all right? Then there's no gap between my apron and my fifth wheel skid plate. Okay, now we're gonna talk about this. I tell everybody the same thing. That grease on that fifth wheel skid plate spreads like crazy and it doesn't wash out, all right? Okay. So don't get it on you. If you do, immediately go in there and try to get it washed off your hands as best you can. If you get it on any type of clothing, it's a permanent stain, all right? So now my fifth wheel skid plate, this part right here, is properly mounted and secured. It's not broken, damaged in any way. It is properly greased. God, that sounds so weird saying it like that. My platform is properly mounted and secured right here. It's not damaged or bent or cracked or broken in any way. All nuts and bolts are present and tight. My sliding fifth wheel locking pins, there's two of them. There's two on this side, there's two on that side. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or broken, and they're in the locked position. Now, this release handle on the test truck is on that side, okay? But since it's on this side, we're gonna talk about it right now. My release handle is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or it's not broken or damaged, and it's in the locked position. This one's in the open position because there's not a trailer on here, okay? Now, then you would crawl under the trailer right here, and you would look up in this hole right here. And there would be a kingpin in there. You can't see it right now because it's attached to the trailer. But my kingpin is properly mounted and secured. It's not broken or damaged, okay? Then the locking jaws, you can't see them. They're hidden right up in here right now. You can't really see them because that's a spring-loaded thing, okay? But my locking jaws are properly mounted and secured. They're not, and this is how I used to say it, okay? They're not cracked, bent, or broken. All right, and they're locked around the shank of the kingpin, okay? Then, after that, you would crawl back out. And you would tell him, I got enough distance between my mud flap and my landing gear, which would be about right here, okay? To do a 90-degree turn either way, all right? Okay. Now we're gonna go to this trailer. You cannot do maneuvers right there. Now, just for reference, this right here is your apron, okay? That's your kingpin right there. Okay. All right, that's what they look like. Okay. Top of this trailer right up here on this corner, I have a clearance light. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not chipped or cracked. It's amber in color. I have my DOT reflective tape. Properly mounted and secured, not cut, torn, or frayed. It covers at least 50% of my trailer, and it is red and white. Okay. Under here, I have my frame, cross members, and floor. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not bent or damaged. There's no holes in my floor, and it's strong enough to contain my cargo. I have my landing gear. properly mounted and secured. It's not damaged in any way. There's no bends or breaks. My foot pad's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. And it's in the fully raised position, which it will be because it's attached. Now, this crank handle on the test truck is also on the other side, okay? But since it's on this side, we can talk about it right now. But it's properly mounted and secured. It's not bent, damaged, and it's stored in its locked position, okay?
What's it called? The crank handle?
Crank handle, yeah. Right here, I have my turn signal, four-way flasher, and marker light. Properly mounted and secured. It's not chipped or damaged in any way, and it's amber in color, okay? Remember, it does three things. Right here, I have my sliding tandems. They're properly mounted and secured, okay? There's no damage to it. There's no bends or breaks, all right? Right here, I have my sliding tandem locking pins. They're properly mounted and secured. They're not bent or damaged, and they're in the locked position. Then right here, I have my release handle. It's properly mounted and secured. It's also not bent or damaged, and it's in the locked position. Okay. Right here, I have my ABS light. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or chipped or damaged in any way, and it is yellow in color. All right. This is just a marker light. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or damaged. And it's red in color, right? Then we come back here. My trailer itself is not leaning to the left or right, which would indicate a flat tire or a suspension problem, okay? At the top of the trailer up there, I have 3 clearance lights. They're all properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, chipped, or damaged, and they are red in color. My doors are all properly mounted and secure. There's no holes or anything like that, all right? My DOT reflective tape is present. It's not missing. It's not cut, torn, or frayed. It's properly mounted and secured. Now I have 4 lights back here, right? I have my tail lights, turn signals, 4-way flashers, and brake lights. They're all properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, chipped, or damaged, and they are red in color, right? Then I would tell him, I would inspect this side of the truck and trailer the same way I did that side, except for side-specific items. And those 2 side-specific items would be that release handle and the crank handle for the landing gear. All right, and then as you're walking up this side, you get about halfway up, and you would tell him, my truck and trailer are not leaning to the front or to the rear, which would also indicate any type of problem that way. Okay? That's it. So now, when you're talking about this stuff, the reason I was struggling is because they used to go like, my rim is not, it's properly mounted, secured, not cracked, bent, broken, no illegal welds. If it was metal, I always said cracked, bent, or broken. If it was plastic, it's not cracked, chipped, or broken. That's how I did it. He wants you to tell him it's not damaged and how it's not damaged.
Okay.
All right, you
Just
come up
make
with
it more specific.
You make it however you want to make it.
Okay.
Just
All right.
so that he knows what you're talking about.
He knows what you're talking about.
Okay.
But if you're standing here and you're going, I got my U-bolts, they're properly mounted and secured, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, I got my leaf spring, blah, blah, blah. You're looking at it. He doesn't need you to look at him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants you to be looking at the parts you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
All
it.
right.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Yep.
All right. It's all y'all's.